everyone's getting a good sense of that, and so we got to just make sure we finish out the work week the right way. All right.
You very much, you've made no secret. I mean, you take simplified approach. Say it's just football. You're just going to go out and play football. But what about like outside factors? Not just the hype of the game itself, but people picking against Pitt, people picking Florida State to win. Do you play off any of that stuff? Say, it's us against the world, anything like that?
No, I mean there is so much real motivation for every guy on this team to play well, and and it's there's a lot of different I think good reasons guys play the game, but all that stuff, and that's great, and you love. That's what makes this sport good, but it's all about the things we got to focus on, the things we can control, and we got an opportunity to start this season and play against obviously a very good opponent, and but the focus and everything we do, all that stuff that doesn't carry you past the second or third play. You know what I mean? It's all about the game. And good football will win. That's the way it is. I really believe that.
How do you feel like?
Go ahead.
How do you feel like Artie has reacted this week? Come back after we named the starter.
Good. And he hadn't changed. I think that's always a good sign. He hadn't changed who he is, how he approaches it. That's. I think that he's a good example of guys that go about it the right way. And approach every day like it's a big day. And if you do that, then be it game week, practice, or the actual game, there's less of a. I think the guys make a mistake if they. It's just practice this, and then I'm going to get excited for game day. That's not how it is. And, you build to it. But I've loved Artie's approach. He hadn't changed who he is.
Has Tom done a good job fine-tuning the things that you want?
What's the protocol there now? When one got trumped, and then we jump in on that one.
Sorry, Eric.
That's all right, Matt. You work for the same.
That's why you're in the middle.
I'm always in the middle.
I'm sorry, what?
Since you named Tom your quarterback, have you seen him fine-tune the things that you wanted him to?
I think that he works every day to fine-tune it, and I don't think it had anything to do with him being named the starter. I think it has him to do with being a competitor and a guy that cares a ton about this team. But absolutely, he's every day he comes out with a great approach, and I think he gets better each day. Not saying he plays perfect every day. They're still learning, and there always will be. But yeah, I've loved his approach.
What I was going to ask you was, your thoughts differing from last year when you opened up against a 1AA school. Now you're opening up against a nationally ranked championship contender. How do you view that as far as an opening game? Is there an advantage one over the other? Would you prefer, one over the other?
I'll tell you after the game. I think the way you approach it, I really believe there's, our job is to be consistent, and I know different, this game, this opener got our players' attention as it knows. Let's not pretend that it didn't. I think us moving into the ACC got our players' attention. But I think, pretty arrogant if you say, this is an easy week, this is a hard week, this is a big game. They're all big games, There's different circumstances surrounding each game, and those are real, and you embrace them, you acknowledge them, I think. But I think you got to have a consistent approach, and if you love this game, if you respect this game, and you got guys that do that, then I think, I'm not saying every week's the same, right? But your approach, I think, has to be consistent.
I guess regardless of opponent, what did you learn from last year's opener? When you guys came out a little flat.
Well, we got beat that night.
Did you learn anything that you're going to apply, to the opener
me
this year,
specifically,
or just as a team?
We'll find out, right? We haven't played this one, so you can't say, "Boy, we learned that lesson." I think.
At what point do you, all the hype surrounding this game, Monday night, first ACC game, do you just say, "It's about football. Can we play now"? Have you hit that point? I guess, where you're just ready to play and just ready to?
No, I'm ready to keep practicing. I'm excited for it to come. Our players are excited for it to come. I think it's hard for us to do that because you set up the week, knowing that there's that build to it. So we haven't, the way you structure your meetings, the way you structure, how much time you're on the field, that whole thing. So it would seem unnatural right now to go. I think absolutely you get to that point. Certainly probably the end of camp where you may be tired of going against each other, and I think that's a natural thing. But no, I think there's a natural build up to each week, and you know, we're in the process of that.
Is the weekly schedule altered at all with the Monday game, or is it, I don't know, more advantage having a couple extra days? Or
Well, I think, and you're coming off of camp, you know, and it's when you start. You know, when do you want to officially finish camp, and when do you want to start your deal? But you know, we've gone into you know, kind of a traditional week. You know, the old, right? You know, Wednesday's actually this day, and the Thursday, you know, this is our day. You know, we just go count backward. You know, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. So, you know, I think there's a natural build up to it.
How's it going today compared to yesterday?
I thought it was pretty good. You know, I don't see him regressing and all. That's the biggest thing you're concerned about. And you know, I think yesterday actually, with what we're doing in practice, there's probably more. He probably had more runs, you know, on his body, and you know, felt pretty good today, I think. So, you know, feel like that's going in the right direction.
If you guys had a game tomorrow, do you think he'd be ready to go?
I do.
Okay.
All right, Coach.
Thank you.